Let's open this sucker with our battering.
Hey, this is Hal, I'm the Bat Collector, and today I will be reviewing the premium format classic Jester Harley Quinn as my first video. It's a weird one to start with, but it's what we're doing. So what I am going to do is I'm going to unbox it, talk about what I like, review it a little bit, and then I'm going to do some things that maybe some other statue collectors don't do that I feel maybe, there's a gap in something that they could be doing and that I'm fully equipped to do. Such as, maybe not being shy around certain details of the statue, as well as, if you spent close to $800 on this thing, I'm assuming that you would be interested in maybe some suggestions for reading material for that character. I can review more of these statues as the time goes on, but yeah, let's get into it. The box is really nice and pretty, and it's small. So I actually have it on display on top of one of my bookshelves. It's well integrated with other things, so it's not like just a box chilling there, but it does look nice. The base is really nice and small, so if you're looking for a, comfortable fit, maybe you don't have the most space in the universe, this is a really great statue for you. The base also, is on character. And I really got no issues with the base. It's pretty great. Fits really nice. It's not too tall, not too big. The body is also really well done. I think my favorite thing of this statue is the glossy nature of just the paint job. It makes it look really real. But just overall, I think this statue, is a really good fit for someone like me. So I'm not one of these guys who is going to have a big room with 20 statues in it. I'm a public high school teacher. I don't have copious amounts of money. And I also, I want my statues to be lived in, if that makes sense. I want it to be in a room where I play video games, I write my books, I, played DC Deck Builder, things like that. And so I want it to be in a room where I'm actually enjoying the statue and looking around and living in it, if you will. But I was inspired by the Batman statue collector to get my own rogues gallery. I thought that was the coolest thing, like a rogues gallery in quarter scale. So you can see some of the other ones I have back there. And I'm also obviously a huge Green Lantern fan. Right here in the video, you can see if I'm checking to see if the Harley Quinn Hell on Wheels portrait will fit. It does not, unfortunately. So if you were wondering if that was possible, it's not. That was a question that I had. Like I was saying, the paint job on this is just amazing. The portrait, I love that angle of it. The eyes are just unbelievable. The eyelashes are unbelievable. The detail on the skin tone on the face is pretty unbelievable. It's really, really great. I got nothing but good things to say about it. I think maybe that's not entirely true. There's maybe one thing I'm not the greatest fan of. There are certain angles where I feel like this portrait, specifically how the tails of her headdress fall, that I don't think necessarily look the greatest, but that's such a minor nitpick. Overall, the glossy look and the tightness and the folds, the details on the folds in this suit are just unreal. Even the shoes have little tassels on them, which are movable, and the shoes are more of a matte finish, which I don't know, it just works. I think it looks great. The sculpt of the body is amazing. The head is amazing. The hammer is maybe not the greatest secure thing. I've seen some people's Hell on Wheels break, but it looks good. It looks great. This is my version of a 360 view of the statue. Again, I'm not like a big wealthy person, so I don't have one of those fancy spinning tables. So this is me crawling around the room and looking at the statue in this way. But you can also get a good look at some of the other things I have. If you'd be interested in me reviewing any of those, just let me know. But my collection largely revolves around kind of like what the characters looked like in the 90s / late 80s. So we have my favorite Batman, The Dark Knight Returns, and obviously Jester Harley is a big part of the 90s. I grew up on the animated series. I love Harley, specifically this version of Harley. I am admittedly not a huge fan of the current state of the character. I think that she traded being, having dependent personality disorder for Joker for having it for Poison Ivy. I think whenever she's with somebody, she tends to just morph to their personality. Like the character literally changes to fit the person that she's with, which there are people like that out there. But for me, my favorite stories with Harley are admittedly when she is flying solo and she's a villain. Although I did like the whole stuff they did with her and like Punchline in Batman, I do much prefer her as a villain. So yeah, this is the perfect statue then, because it's that 90s, it's the Jester outfit. Chest looks great, as you can see there. The stomach detail is really great. The leg muscle detail is really great. She's, her calves would be flexed given this position, and it does a good job kind of like showing the realism of that. The seams are great because it's not actual material. It is paint, but it looks like it's like leather, and that's what is really so special about this statue. If you look really close, something interesting they did was on the black areas where the muscle or the butt or the breast would push up against the leather. There's a slight light, like a very slight bluish tint to the paint, and you can't notice it unless you're really looking, and you definitely can't notice it if you're even like a foot away from it. But it does kind of add like an extra realism to it. It's really nice. So here, I got some pictures of kind of like what I think the better angles are, specifically like for displaying. I really like this first angle because the portrait's not like straight on. I think the portrait weirdly is at its weakest when you're looking at it straight on. And this portrait, she's kind of looking, you get the chest, you get the side, you get the waist, you get the legs, you get... The portrait really is at the best from the side. Now this picture is a little bit looking at it from an upward angle, but it looks great from looking at it from like a straight angle as well. And then the second picture is the other great way I think that you can display it, and that is more of like a straight on look at the back and buttocks, but the head is still at a, not straight on. I really think that's a strong angle as well. And so I have it displayed like this, where it's, those exact angles I just said that I prefer. I do also, like if I twisted her to the right a little bit more, where it's like more showing the chest, I do think that's also a good look, but then you're missing a lot of the portrait. And I don't want to miss too much. And then from my desk, I have the view of the other, which is great. And you can also see my 3D printed pop gun, my Funko Pop, and my smaller Harley. I have like 6 Harley Quinn Funko Pops. You can kind of see my view when I'm just walking in the office. I do have that kind of frontal view of the portrait if I really want it. But it's just great. I mean, I love this edition. Harley is one of my favorite. My favorite... I feel like Joker, you can't pick Joker because it's just like the obvious choice. So I kind of don't include Joker as one of the options because it just bothers me to pick the most stereotypical choice. I don't know why, it just does. So my favorite rogue is Scarecrow. I feel like he has so much potential. Arkham Knight really was such a great story for him. Truly tapping into his true potential. Batman Begins really, it was okay, I guess, in terms of Scarecrow. Everything else was great, but Scarecrow, it was okay. And then it's my second number 2, pretty close, is Bane, specifically Nightfall Bane, because again, I love that 90s aesthetic. And then Jester Harley. Those are my 3 favorites. Obviously, Ivy, Joker, Mr. Freeze are all up there for me as my top rogues. I am hoping to get the purple tweeterhead Catwoman to kind of go with my 90s vibe. But anyway, looking at some reading suggestions, if you're wanting really the best story for Jester Harley, it is that first run of Harley Quinn comics, so Volume 1, Harley Quinn Vengeance Unlimited. It is the 4th volume of that first run if you're going for like the volumes. And it is issues, it's obviously the last few issues. I guess it's not obvious, but it's issues 26 through 38. And this Harley, she's not in a relationship. She's like actual real development with very unique art that's kind of reminds me of like Hellboy art, like Magnolia. I'm sure that's not how you pronounce the name. I always struggle with it. The art's great and unique. It's dark, twisted. She's actually a villain, but she's getting like real character development. It's truly amazing. It's the best Harley run out there. And then my favorite single issue of Harley Quinn is from Catwoman 89. Catwoman's not really in the comic book. It's a Harley story, so don't be mistaken. And this story is collected in the DC's Finest, Harley Quinn, The Birth of the Mirth volume, which collects all of her first appearances from 1993 to 2001. And that whole book is definitely worth picking up as well. But that's the reading suggestions I would have for this version of Harley. Again, I'm not the biggest fan of her with Poison Ivy or Joker. I think both dilute the character. But obviously Joker is the more important because he's the foundation of her entire character. I don't know. I think the whole Poison Ivy relationship's basically just goth girl and peppy girl together. It's the same. We've seen the same trope a million times. I don't think it's anything original. I don't think they're even particularly great together. It's just, I don't like it. I like the classic Harley. So if you're looking for something awesome, a Harley that's darker, more edgy, but still funny and Harley, this Volume 4 is my recommendation. Closing thoughts on the statue is that it is awesome. It's room and space friendly. There's really no flaws with it. Many different ways to display it that look great. So if you're looking for that more classic Harley, this is the perfect one for you.